What's up, guys? Coach Matt in Yugo Pro Baseball, and I'm here again with Isaac Hess, former pro pitcher. And in this video, if you've got a young player who's struggling to catch the ball, a beginning player who is catching like this or is scared of the ball, we've got some great tips for you in this video. So you're gonna want to watch this one till the end.
The first thing I do when I identify this, which it's one of the most common things, and as a coach, it's kind of terrifying to me, especially if I'm using a hard baseball. But sometimes they're playing baseball for 2 full years before, and they're still doing this, and they're still getting out of the way, and it looks bad, and they're not going to be able to play many positions. They're going to be the kid that gets put in the right field, and so we want to teach them the right way to catch. First and foremost, one tip I have is just use tennis balls. Obviously, that's simple, or use softballs. That's one way. Another way is throwing a tennis ball with no glove. Oftentimes I'll start that way. That promotes them catching the ball with 2 hands. It's going to be hard for them to catch it with one, and you're going to have to catch it with 2 hands. So you're trying to teach a young kid that's just learning that they need to catch the ball with 2 hands. Another preliminary beginner thing to teach a kid is to just, when he has his glove on and he's breaking his glove in, this not only is going to help him break his glove in, it's going to help him feel a little bit of a release point when he's throwing it in there, if he's throwing it hard. And he's also gonna start getting a little bit more acclimated to feeling the ball go in the pocket. So another thing as a dad, if you're a dad coach, or if you're just having trouble getting your kids to squeeze the ball, just have them put the ball in their glove and then put it straight out like this. A lot of times I'll have my kids do this, and a lot of times they won't even be able to do that. So if you can get them in the habit of just being able to squeeze that glove and make it so that when the ball comes in, they are squeezing it, because that's one major problem that often happens. So just have them extend their arm out and feel what it feels like to be able to hold that ball in there. Once you do move into the harder baseballs, then we move on to juggling and the progression of juggling. So we'll go over that real quick. So there's so many things you can do here. Before we even start juggling, is just have the kid put the ball in their hand and just taking your fingers and putting your finger around the ball to a 4-seamer, moving it to another 4-seamer, consciously moving it to a 2-seamer, and just starting with 2-seam and 4-seam grip. With guys that have real small hands, they're only 7 or 8 years old, they're like having to go through and get their fingertips to get acclimated to feeling that ball inside their hand and moving around the ball. Remember, as a coach, we're trying to do everything we can to help them take ownership of every part of their game. So how do we do that for a kid that's under 10 years old? We got to make it fun all the time. We always got to find a way to make it fun. First thing I do, I say, I'm going to teach you how to juggle, and then I start juggling, right? And they're like, oh my God, how do you juggle? How do you do that so well? How long did that take you? I said, it took me a long time to master this, but we're going to start with 1, right? So we just start here. You're going to throw it up. And for the very beginner, you're just going to throw it up and catch it. And coaches out there, you're going to notice if you put all your players on the line, first off, depending on what kind of expectations you set, it's going to take you 10 minutes just to get them all standing on the line, right? If they're well coached, it won't take you that long. You're going to say, go on the line, and they're going to say, yes, coach. And then they're going to get on the line. So when they're on the line, the first drill that we're going to have them do is get in a nice athletic position with their weight on their toes. And we're going to tell them that they can't move their feet. They got to keep their feet on the line the whole time. And we want them to just throw it up and catch it. Just like this. Super simple. We want this to become boring fast. But you're going to be surprised how hard it is for a lot of kids to do that without moving their feet. Okay? Once they can do that, we're going to throw it up and catch it with 1 hand. Okay? They got to get that 10 times in a row without moving their feet. Right? Shouldn't be too hard, but for a young player, it's a lot more challenging than you'd think. Then you go to the other side. Okay, 10 times on this way, or on this side. Then we're gonna go back and forth. Not only is this great for catching, this is also great for feeling the ball come off the fingertips. This is something that I teach all the kids. Try to grab it, especially with your throwing hand, try to grab it into that 4-seamer as naturally as you possibly can. First we're gonna do it, we're gonna look at it real intently. Then we're gonna look to the right. Then we're gonna introduce what peripheral vision is. The idea of the vision from the side of your eyes. They're probably not going to have heard that before. So we're going to teach them what peripheral vision is. As a good baseball player, you can see the whole field. You don't have to just look straight ahead. You want to be able to know what's going on this way and have a feel for the game, right? So we're going to look this way, then we're going to look this way. We're going to try to connect with seeing the ball out of the side of our eye. Then we're going to look up. Now we can't see it. We're just kind of feeling it in our hand. And the farther we throw it, the harder it is. You know, if they're having tough time, just have them start super simple. They even could just start with handing it off if they're really having a tough time. So then we get here, then we're looking at the ball, and then we close our eyes. And then we just feel, we try to visualize seeing the ball go from one hand to the next. And then once we start getting really good, we start feeling the ball in that four-seam grip as soon as possible. This is something that's more on the high school level, just to start being able to pull the ball out of the glove with that four-seam as quick as possible. Once you go and you master that one ball drill, right? Now we're gonna do two balls, okay? So you've graduated, kid, good job. You've made it to two baseballs now. So now we're gonna be on the line. It's gonna be one, 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 one. If you're getting good at that, two. This is pretty advanced. A lot of kids are gonna start dropping it. I'll even start dropping this sometimes. You can do it like that. You can do it with two balls. This is a little easier. If you do two balls, one hand, you can try it on both hands. And remember, this is a challenge. Anytime that you challenge your kids to do something and you give them homework, they're gonna be a lot more likely to go practice it on their own. It's not like you're just drilling it into them and saying you have to do this 100 times. You're saying I challenge you to be able to do this 10 times in a row. A couple different drills right there. Now we're gonna go up, over, down, up, over, down, up, over, down. Okay, we're gonna go both directions. If they're having a tough time with doing that, then we're just gonna have them hand it off. Hand it off. Once they can hand it off, then we're gonna have them throw it over. Once they can throw it over, we're gonna have them try to throw it over farther. We're gonna try to increase this distance. We're gonna tell them to try to keep their elbows in towards their rib cage. Then, well, actually before that, if they're starting to get good, then they can start going this way. And as a starting pitcher, I spent 4 out of my 5 days sitting on the bench, waiting for my start. I wouldn't recommend doing this in your games. You might be a distraction, but in practice or at home, whatever, try to see how many you can get in a row on both hands. This is just gonna generally help your overall hand-eye coordination. Once you get there, then you graduated to 3 balls. Then you get to this point, okay? If you got a 10-year-old that can juggle 3 baseballs, that kid's making the majority of the plays at shortstop. He's gonna be good hand-eye coordination. What is that gonna bring to him at the plate? He's gonna be able to have a lot better chance to me making contact consistently because he just has a general sense of hand-eye coordination. So the last thing I forgot to say was, you know, even for the youngest kids, I'll tell them to learn how to do this with both hands. Learn how to be able to turn the balls around in your hand. This is challenging. Even for a grown man, this can be a little tough, especially if you go the opposite direction. It's even harder to go the opposite direction in towards your body. So if you're able to do that, you're gonna have a better feel for the baseball overall. It's gonna give you a lot better advantage. So when I am teaching a new, you know, beginning baseball player how to catch, and I'm getting this, you know, on their arm side, they're not turning their glove over properly. So here's a tip in order to be able to combat that. So John's gonna put his glove up. So normally glove side is the easiest way for a kid to catch. They'll go like this a lot, but a lot of times, even with a kid that's not very good at catching, I'll notice they have a little bit more ability to turn the glove this way. And then also down here, they will usually catch, that's the easiest one for a kid with this kind of issue. Now where you really start running into problems is when the ball goes over on their arm side and they're trying to catch it like this. And I'm sure you've seen this before if you're watching this. So you're going like this, you can use a bat, you can use a broomstick, anything, but you can be far away and we can say arm side. We want them to turn the glove. So it's not intimidating. We're just trying to get them to check in with their body on how to properly move their glove because you're repeating yourself over and over and over again and they're just not getting it. So I had to come up with something to be able to try to teach them in a non-intimidating way and a safe way in order to get them to learn. So we'll go glove side, arm side, down, glove side. You can go that way or you can go this way depending on how you want to catch it. This is more advanced as you're trying to get around the ball. That would be for a more advanced player who's aware of trying to get into throwing position as they're catching the ball. that would be the ideal way to do it. But just teaching them a safe way, boom, that's fine too, at the younger ages especially. And then boom, right down the middle, because John will show you the wrong way to do it down the middle. This is really where you get dangerous. A kid that, if you pair up two kids, one kid's a little more advanced, he starts throwing hard, boom, I've seen it happen a million times, hit off the glove, right in the nose. That's what you don't want, especially when you start playing with the hard baseballs.
So really cool. Thank you so much for that information. We got some more videos coming for you guys, so stay tuned. Thank you so much, Isaac. Thank you guys.